Hello, welcome to another video, and let's talk about difficulty. Because, everybody and their mother seems to be talking about this right now, for various reasons. But if you haven't been online, or anything really at all, or just kind of out of the loop, the DLC for Elden Ring came out on Friday. It's kind of taken over, the whole gaming world, kind of. Not to the extent, but when Elden Ring first came out, it took over everything. And of course, like many other FromSoft releases and games and stuff like that, always is a giant conversation about the difficulty in FromSoft games. There always has been, there always will be. I don't think it ever will really change. Now, to put my kind of spot in perspective, I'd never played I didn't know what Dark Souls was, anything like that, when it was coming out. Elden Ring was the first actual Souls game. I tried Sekiro, I think once maybe. It was alright. I never finished it, didn't get really far in it that I can remember. But Elden Ring was the first one where I was got in with the hype and everything. I tried it. I got not very far, but I played it for a lot of hours. It was hard. Absolutely. But I actually started a brand new playthrough a couple months ago, and I plan to be have the game done, especially by now, and have videos posted and stuff, like a little playthrough thing. Today's video was going to be the first video of that, but with all the conversation about this, just thought I'd throw my 2 cents in there. It's funny, especially for Elden Ring. I don't know, I haven't touched a DLC. I haven't gotten that far in my playthrough. I'm still playing right now as I'm going to be posting it, kind of thing, and I'm going to play the DLC once I get there. No matter what, people will be freaking out about a From Software release. It doesn't matter. Basically anything. When Elden Ring came out, I remember there's the big talk around if there should be difficulty sliders or options, whatever kind of thing, to make the game easier for certain people. I have never once thought that was a good fix. The game is designed in a way, and there's more people that are legit FromSoft games. I've played all the games, but it seems like they're developed and they flow in a way that the difficulty adds to it, and the storytelling, it's the gameplay and stories interwoven. The world's this absolute hellscape. It wouldn't really feel great if you just fucking ran through it all, it's borderline a horror game with some of the enemies. And people make connections to Berserk. I've obviously been reading the manga of Berserk since that's basically what made me want to start Elden Ring again. And yeah, I see the connections, a lot of similarities. And in Berserk, it wouldn't really feel good at all if Guts just walked and destroyed some giant boss, apostle or something, just like that, Now, the only argument for this that I have some sort of understanding for is people that physically cannot play a video game the way I can. Just simply hold a controller and play it. There is people that just can't do that. So I understand why you'd want some sort of accessibility features for them, and to me that still doesn't feel like a difficulty scale is that, if that makes sense. And the other part of that is people have beaten Elden Ring playing on a fucking dance pad. What the fuck are you doing? The game is obviously achievable in many different ways, and I would argue that Elden Ring isn't even that hard. I don't know. Obviously it's hard, it's difficult, it beats the shit out of you at the beginning of the game. But once you kind of have the few things click, my second playthrough, once it clicked in my head to just run past a majority of just the mobs that you randomly see, your life way easier. I don't know why. The first playthrough I was oh, I have to kill everything. was the stupidest thing ever. It was so dumb looking back at it, and like that's one thing that really like kind of pushed me through. And then just kind of that self-belief of like, yeah, dude, I can do this. I have my moments. You'll see it when I post the video. I'm going to sit there, cuss at myself, cuss at the game, say it's stupid, say it's unfair, say anything I can to try and shift the blame, because I wouldn't be able to deal with blaming myself for my own failures. You know, I have to blame some external reasoning, like most people. But realistically, it's usually not unfair. It's usually not designed in a way that you absolutely cannot beat it. Shit's hard in the game, absolutely, and it just gets progressively harder, and that just builds up the fact of like that feeling of achievement, and that adds to why people like fall in love with the FromSoft games. You know, that feeling of like, I beat Radon, holy shit, you know. And if it was a cakewalk, if he only did, I don't know, his first phase attacks the whole fight, and you did more damage and he did less, you know, something like however the scale of making it easier would work, I don't think it'd be rewarding. The thing with that, with the games that are easy, they try to build like a linear story, usually like some form of a here's the story, while Dark Souls and Elden Ring is very like, I don't know, nuanced, but it's not very upfront with the story. Like basically if you're playing through Elden Ring and you're like, okay, what's actually like overall happening, you're gonna end up on YouTube. You're gonna end up on freaking Vita Vadi, or I don't know how to say his name or whatever. He super great lore videos. You're gonna sit there, fall down a rabbit hole. You're gonna know everything about Elden Ring instantly. You know? And if you want to do it yourself, you're gonna have to read a whole bunch of items, which who the fuck has time for that? That's added difficult. Like, the story is difficult, for Christ's sakes. Why would you want the gameplay not difficult? But this kind of all started with a review from Eurogamer, where they said that the difficulty was a little too much. And I'm not going to sit here and shit on like a review or anything like that, because honestly, it's probably good to have differencing of opinions in reviews. So it's not like, oh, every single fucking journalist that's a video game journalist just said, oh yeah, 10 out of 10, perfect. You know, I don't think that they'd really be doing their jobs at that point. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean their review's correct or anything. I don't think any review can be really labeled correct. And it's weird because it kind of seemed like everyone shit on this review at first, and then a day passed, and the review on Steam dropped to mixed, and a lot of people thought that the game was too hard all of a sudden. And like this includes like legit FromSoft fans, it seems like, at least by how the conversation like goes online and Twitter and everything like that. While when Elden Ring first came out, it seemed like it was people that weren't into the FromSoft games. They didn't play Dark Souls. Someone like me, if I went on there and I was getting absolutely shit kicked, which I was, and then go, well, this is just stupid, I don't want to play this. You know, it's too hard. Realistically, FromSoft and stuff, they don't, like, they obviously care because they want to grow. Elden Ring blew up in hype and everything, so I think it brought in so many new people that obviously there's going to be a lot of people that think it is too hard. Because honestly, it definitely, I wouldn't say Elden Ring is for everybody, though it's probably the most From Software game that is for everybody, because the open world is basically a fucking difficulty slider, like realistically. But yeah, for whatever reason, I haven't touched it, so maybe it is like just fucking stupidly hard and is just overly hard for what it is. I would argue that it is a DLC, so like, what do you really expect? I'm pretty sure most of like the hardest bosses in like FromSoft's history is DLC characters. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Like, obviously there's hard ones in main games too, but I feel like the big hard ones, like the ones I knew about before, like Orphan of Kos, I think that's DLC. And the one other big one, Mimir, I think it is. But it makes sense for the DLC to be a step above the full release of the game, especially something like Elden Ring, where like you can over level very easily in Elden Ring. And they obviously had to have some way of having the DLC with your character and not feel like you're just going to go in there, rush through everything like you probably can in the base game because you're over-leveled, and make it feel rewarding still, you know? Like, there's definitely a balancing act, and they said, fuck it, DEFCON 5, let's make this bitch hard. And I don't know how everything works either, because I know there is like certain items in the game that you can use as like a power up or whatever to kind of bring your character up on the level that is like the DLC area. Like it has its own area specific thing to kind of make you stronger so you're not getting absolutely ran through. I don't know. I think it's funny thinking of people complaining so much about how hard something is, where it's like, you don't have to beat it. You don't have to play it, you know? Like, obviously you can be excited for something, play it. Obviously, you're going to be a little disappointed if you can't beat it. But just think of how great it's going to feel once you actually beat it. That's how I felt beating the fucking Margit. Margit felt so good. The Tree Sentinel felt good. Like, just thinking back to the first time you ever played a FromSoft game and that first boss you beat, like, it's insane how nice it feels. The thing with Elden Ring and FromSoft games is, like, you get to just keep on going at it, you know? The only time you can stop going at it is if you quit, and that's on you, you know, kind of thing. Like, there's that kind of psychological feeling of it, which, again, can tie to something like Berserk, the manga. If you've never read Berserk or anything, I'm sorry, you'll have no fucking clue really what I'm talking about. But I don't know. Overall, I think it's a little weird for people to be complaining this much about the DLC and the game being too hard, especially if it is more like FromSoft fans. Again, listen, I know you're gonna probably get mad at me because I haven't even stepped foot in it, and all I'm gonna say is I'm excited to one day step foot and get my shit kicked in, because I'm just gonna keep going till I get a lucky kill, cheese it maybe, who knows. I will say I play strength builds, so not the biggest pussy out there. You know, I'm not a sorcerer. I don't use magic. Don't hate me that much. But that's going to do it for this video. I just kind of want to talk about this because it was like blowing up online this weekend of everyone basically having their own ideas for this and talking about it and whatnot. I'm playing through Elden Ring right now. Wednesday's video should be my first video. I think the first one's going to be me getting through Margit and the first little area, and then I'll like have the bigger parts chopped up more and put together. I think that's my plan, but we'll see how that goes. But that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Fucking English. Consider subscribing, helps channel out a bunch. Comment your thoughts on this whole debacle, your From Software experience, your Elden Ring experience. If you are enjoying the DLC, if you think it should be changed, please have an explanation why. It's tough when people are just like, yeah, it needs to be easier, or, you know, it's too hard kind of thing, and then they don't elaborate at all, really, you know? I don't know. That's just me. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.